Yeah. Check 1 2 1 2. Welcome. We're back. The Wilson Game Podcast. Yours truly, Shenard Smith, better known as the best dressed on all social media.
Political Ferb, follow.
Ha.
AKA get your hands put on them.
Oh yeah,
Put hands on them.
Bro, got a new boy went to Philly and came back with a whole new tag. He thought he was Rocky. Heard he watched Creed, Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up there and came back with a victorious, huh?
Absolutely.
All
Leave it
right.
at that.
Listen, check it. So before we even get into this podcast, we're gonna kind of do a couple things. We're gonna review Super Bowl, who we like, some things like that. But let's get into some conversation. Like, what was the reason behind the podcast? I mean, I know we kind of both limped in it different ways. I'll go to you first. Like, what was the reason? What was the idea behind the podcast when you decided that you was gonna bring it to the forefront and bring it to the group that you want to do a podcast? What was your thought?
So I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while. I've been talking to my boy Crank. Shout out to Crank Marketing.
For sure, Crank.
I've been wanting to do two type of podcasts. One was a sports podcast, this one, and a political podcast. Obviously, my name Political Ferb, and the political side is more so it's not pushing an agenda. It's more so of making people take the like the crazy stuff they're seeing on the news and break it down to an understanding, like a street understanding or a simple understanding that they understand. So that's where my name Political Ferb comes from. I'm known for like letting people know like what's the real, like, okay, they say the world is about to end, but it's not really about to end. This is what's really happening.
Got you. Okay.
So that was one of the podcast ideas, and I'm probably still going to do that eventually. But this podcast with the sports, the 49ers one, came about just obviously one wanted to do it, but in our group chat, my brothers, our outside boys.
Yeah, outside boys. Shout out to them.
Boys.
Shit, they outside right now. I seen
Know
the
what
text,
I'm
but they
saying?
said they outside. Where you at? I said, we be working, boy. I'm coming.
So just like, our debates in the chats be like damn near legendary. So I'm like, why not just bring it to camera? Let's put it on a pod and see where it goes. So that's how, for me, it's all come about. And here we are, full circle. Here we are.
Yeah, for me, I think it's like barbershop talk. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
We're not the guys that play in the NFL, have
Wish
that
I
kind of
did.
understanding of what that looks like. But I think we do all come from our own same phantom kind of perspective, right? Me being a football coach for, numerous years on the college level. I have my own understanding how I like to look at talent, how I look at building the locker room, how I look at, what I put value on. I put a lot of value on veterans. I put a lot of value on things like that. I like people to earn their spot, not be given a spot. So just different perspectives. I like having.
My bad. Was that a shot at Trey?
No. I'm overall. Like I'm one of the ones that, I gave respect for when, a guy that may have a name, may can come into the locker room. Like I was big on Richard Sherman coming over. Even though he got long in the tooth, maybe couldn't cover for a long time. But I think just some of that vet knowledge that he gave to some of the younger boys, I mean, I think it got us to where we are now. Some of that stuff is still paying its dividends when we bring a vet into the locker room like that. So I'm big on some of those things because I know how it built culture for me as a player one time and also as a coach. That there's some things that coaches can't put in the conversation. You can't give the motivation and the rally speech all the time. Sometimes it has to be filtered through your players and through your leadership. So I'm big on that. So and I think being able to have different perspectives, the female perspective, we do have a couple females in our chat, having a male's perspective from a fan standpoint, having a couple guys that played at high level Division I football in there. And then we have the total fans, some people that their knowledge of football comes from what ESPN says. Yeah. They say that they heard that, Tom Brady signed a 2-year deal with the 49ers, and we may not know it's true. They going with that as that's the gospel. So I think this podcast is definitely a platform where we can kind of get our barbershop talk or our chat talk out to the public, let them be able to kind of get a chance to see what we're saying, agree with what you don't, just, debate what you don't agree with and go from there. So I think it's been a hell of a time.
Yeah, definitely like, subscribe, share.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, especially if you like our content, what we got going on, what we're saying. Please like, subscribe to the channel, share it with everybody, talk about it. We're well known within the Empire. Let everybody know that the Niner Empire, Charlotte, them outside boys, them whistle gang boys.
Woo! Outside. They still outside right now. I'm looking at my phone.
we-
They calling right now.
We got some stuff to say, and we got some good stuff to say. So I mean, just shout out to everybody.
Look, man, so this has kind of been one of those years.
Mhm.
Ups, downs.
Correct.
Didn't end the way we wanted it to end. Get ready to go into the Super Bowl in a little bit. What are some highlights, from the year that you thought were just highlights? Both as Whistle Game Podcast, Niner Empire, Charlotte. Let's go there first, like socially for us, from the podcast and the chapter, and then we'll go to football second. So let's take it one at a time.
So I think one of the major accomplishments and highlights of the year for sure has to be the invasion that we hosted. We put together here in Charlotte.
Super facts.
I mean, shout out to Oscar.
Oscar
Shout Torres, though. Oscar Torres.
Get the right Oscar.
Yeah.
They claiming bodies.
Yeah, you got Oscar from the 831. That's my boy.
Okay.
But this is Oscar Torres. He a truck driver. I actually ran into him in Wild Card Weekend at the game in Seattle, and he says, like, are you from Charlotte? Like, are you? Because he saw the chains and stuff. I'm always repping. He like, did you throw the invasion of Charlotte? I'm like, yeah, me and my chapter. He's like, I was there. I had a great time. Da-da-da-da. And he started rattling off. We took a picture, it's posted in our chat on Facebook. And I even remember I had him do a video, like a thank you video or whatever, like a video of his experience in Charlotte.
We might need to merge that in this right here.
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, like, so that right there is definitely for me to highlight, just of the invasion. So now knowing, which was our goal when we set it out, like, we just don't want to be embarrassed when we got on the road for what we put on in Charlotte. We wanted to get the love, and literally, like, I'm all the way out at the game in the Bay getting love from something that we did here in Charlotte. So I think that for sure is the highlight. Us coming together stronger and better as a chapter.
Yeah.
The outside boys, like us getting closer. You know what I'm saying? Just
outside.
Yeah, just growing that. And then seeing how we ended the season, even though I know maybe week 1 next year it'll be like whatever, 400, 500 people. But just knowing that going into week 4 next year, and then knock on wood, hopefully we're not 0-4, but like if we're 0-4, we still going to have a nice solid 100, 150 real Niner fans in Charlotte at the watch party. So just growing the chapter, growing everything like that, I think that was the highlight. But for sure has to be the invasion. Has to be the highlight.
Yeah, highlight for me, I think, is definitely just being able to separate ourselves from other chapters, right?
Yeah.
I think now when them whistles start blowing,
they know.
I don't care where we are.
They know.
I mean, Charlotte was one thing, but when next week we went to Atlanta,
they
oh my God, we was in the club with this thing. I mean, you thought that like everybody's supposed to got a whistle coming in the door, because there was only probably about 10 of us in there. It sounded like 400 drum majors from Jackson State. So I definitely think that's a separation for me. That's like a highlight for us to kind of have something we can hang our hat on.
Yeah.
Being from the North Carolina chapter and from the Charlotte chapter exclusively. Being able to go on the road, people recognize who we are.
Sure.
People everywhere asking whistles. Even
literally, hold up. I don't mean to cut you off, but just because just in Philly last week, I literally walked into the tailgate, blowing that thing down, and DJ Holem, my man Antoine, shout out, just stopped the music like the whistle gang is in the building.
Yeah, for sure. That's my boy, straight out of Tampa, Florida, baby. He already know what it is.
So that is like that definitely sets us apart. Like they know, like all right, they bring it like I think somebody even asked me like, yo, where's your whistle? I'm like, oh, it's right here. Don't get
yeah. Like it's hanging. Like, look, got them in all colors. So that was definitely one of those things that put on. I know for the Charlotte chapter, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys next year. I know it's a Whistle Game podcast, but for the Charlotte chapter, part of your membership will include a whistle, so you ain't got to worry about buying it externally. Official 49er whistle in red will be a part of your membership package, so make sure when you log in next year or you sign up next year, you have your whistles there.
We
make
should
sure
look
you bring
some gold ones. 2.
Stop telling the secrets. Those are the exclusive ones. Those are $50, $18. Thank you. We big on merch around here too, right? But no, that's probably part of my my social thing. Football wise, I think that Kyle's shown that we have a team that's ready to win now, despite having a second year quarterback go down early, having to go back to a vet that had some wins for us. Him even going down and having to go to a rookie, and everybody say Mr. Irrelevant. I don't allow people when I see it on social media that people say Mr. Irrelevant. I say my quarterback. I don't allow, I don't like the people to discredit who he is and what he has done for us. So for me, that's been a enlightenment for me this year, just being able to watch us go through 3 quarterbacks this year, even having to play a 4th quarterback, and then having to go back to Brock Purdy in the game because Josh Johnson got knocked out. That we have resilience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even after going through all those things, we still had a chance. Or Philly didn't feel great about their win. They happy to go into the Super Bowl, but they know they didn't dominate. If anybody else tells us Jalen Hurts getting knocked out of the game, I know Gardner Minshew was not ready to take them where they went. So
no, sir.
Those are my things. Those are my 2 highlights. One being just separate ourselves from other chapters, no matter from East Coast or West Coast. No matter where we go. Next year, I know they're going to be looking for some high numbers. I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to get there next year. I wish the Super Bowl's already wrapped up so we can go from there. So there's that. Listen, all right. So we had a couple turning points in the year, and a couple great stories this year. As we do kind of a year in recap, there are 3 stories that stick out to me this year that I want to kind of talk about and make sure they get some recognition on the podcast. It may not be all 49er related, but there are things that I want to make sure that get out. One, the DeMar Hamlin story.
Gotcha.
That's a story that I don't ever think I will forget.
Where you was at, what
you
was doing,
what the expectation was. I was watching the game because I had a player. I think I had some Margie P. Ryan playing in my fantasy game. They had Gabriel Jackson. maybe playing in their
Davis.
Davis. It was Gabriel Davis playing for them, and it was a fantasy game in the playoffs. So it was a big time game. So I was watching the game. I'm a 49er fan.
It was a big time game for the number 1 seed, pretty much.
So it was one of those games. So I was tuned in, but just
everybody was
to know what actually happened to that young man. And I don't want to speak it into existence, but just to know where we came from with that young man being there, cardiac arrest there on the field. Being on the field almost 30 minutes there, getting into a hospital, and now being able to breathe on his own, back home with his family. That turn of those 5-6 days that we kind of sat there in silence, waiting on that is probably number 1 for me in football this year, as far as memories.
Okay.
2 for me would probably be the Brock Purdy story. Him being considered Mr. Irrelevant, last pick of the NFL draft.
Brockstar.
And being able to come and take a team on to 11, 12 wins or whatever we had in a row, which I told my bookie before the season started. I don't know how we got there, but that we would have. I think the spread was like 11 and a half wins. He said, "Should I take it?" I said, "Yeah, we're gonna have 11, 12 wins," and we counted them off. In the games that we lost, definitely one of the games that I picked that we would be losing games. But yeah, went for that. So that's story number 2 for me. Though that's gonna stick hard to me is Brock Purdy. That I was one of the ones that went on a limb early on to say this is the best quarterback in the room, and he ended up having an opportunity to do it and got us where we ended up going. I would love to see have finished with the Cinderella story, but I'm good with the story on the way it ended. And my last one. And this is going to take me into the Super Bowl, and I'm going to kind of elaborate on when I make my Super Bowl pick. It's the Jalen Watson story. Jalen Watson is a kid that's from my hometown, Augusta, Georgia. I've had the opportunity to train on many occasions. He grew up with one of my cousins that they were same grade. They went to private school together one year. He ended up transferring over to the public school sector. Got a chance to learn this young man, know this young man, train him in the offseason, watch his career. As he went to JUCO and then over to Washington. One thing about this kid was drafted late to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a rookie this year. Had the opportunity to start the second week of the season, ended up having a major big-time pick late in the game versus the Chargers that he ended up taking a pick 6, maybe like 98 yards. And, just seeing a kid that I knew where he came from academically, socially, economically, You know what I mean? From that kid being that kid now to this kid being able to provide not only for his family but also provide dreams and things like that for kids that grew up where we came from, Augusta, Georgia.
That's dope.
Being overlooked. That will forever be a story for me.
Yeah, that's
The
dope.
kid that I was actually able to talk to, mentor in a capacity, and to be able to show other kids that I'm training here in Charlotte and outside of Charlotte that you can do it.
That
you
can
put
happen.
your mind to it, that anybody can happen. No matter what your story says, nobody can tell you what the end of the book says.
Yep.
Those are 3 stories that are always going to be big to me from this football year, and these stories will always stick to me the rest of my life, especially the Damar Hamlin and the Jalen Watson story. Now the Brock Purdy story may go in my bag, and some other stories may come before that, but those 2 stories will stick me for the rest of my life. What about you? Any highlights this year when you look at this year in a backwards looking way that will stick out to you?
Way. I mean, the thing that stands out for sure is that like we got a coach. We got Kyle's is a coach.
Okay.
Like for him to go from Trey, have all off season pretty much have a game plan, scheme and everything designed for Trey with the running and everything, and then on the drop of a dime, go back to what it used to be for Jimmy. For whatever it was, 6-7 weeks, and then boom, switch it. Probably a little bit more, or it's little tweaks, I'm guessing, now for Brock. I mean, and then the win with, well, I guess Trey didn't officially win a game this season, but to be able to be in a position to win a game with 3 different quarterbacks in one season, I mean, has to be coach of the year.
That's coach. That's a coach.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a coach.
He's coaching them boys up. As a 49er fan, like you know,
And that's when you have to lose his offensive guy that took the minor job.
Yeah. But besides Josh Johnson, I mean, no disrespect, like you feel comfortable with whoever's back there quarterback.
Correct.
Like you know, like okay, with Kyle, we got a shot. Like we got a real chance to win the game. So I think that stands out. 2, I think the Christian McCaffrey trade really stands out.
Yeah, that's big.
Like just got trade right there shows like that we want to go get number 6, to go give up more picks after we gave up a bunch of picks for Trey. Knowing that we don't pick into the 3rd round now because of that, and just going for it. Like I like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? So that was good. And then I think 3, and I'm probably not thinking, it's probably another story. But this is probably just like the development of the people, of the staff. I think we got into a little bit on the last pod, but like Aaron Banks, his development, seeing BA big time jump in development now to a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yep.
Just seeing those type of guys. Like we still got Buford, right guard. He was a 5th-round rookie. He played really well, even though they would take him out. They would take him out halfway through games and put him back in. They would swap him and Brunskill. But just seeing his development as the season went on, seeing the development of the players. Like we got some players on the practice squad, like Poe. I think Poe's gonna be a major player for us going forward. So I mean, just seeing these type of guys, the development from the coaching staff to the field, the talent and everything, the development showing into the games. I think that is a major story, like how we can take these guys, a George Kittle 5th-round draft pick, and turn them into a superstar like George Kittle is.
Superstar.
So I think that's for me, that's like that's got to be a story, like how we continue to find these late, even Elijah Mitchell, he was banged up, find these late round people and turn them into starters for us and stars in the system.
Yeah, that definitely goes to your scouting department. You definitely got to give them some props
Facts.
on what they're doing in the scouting department and leadership there. Let's take it one step deeper before we get into these Super Bowl predictions and what we want to see from the Super Bowl. One takeaway from the season, one thing that we could have did without, that didn't kind of resurrect or make the lead look good, or some things that we've may have missed, some mishaps, some bad decisions, just something
bad decisions.
Yeah, just one thing we could have corrected this year.
So I think one of the bad decisions, and I'm not sure how many people have talked about it, if they've talked about it at all. I think a bad decision by Kyle and John Lynch was not to go get a veteran quarterback. Well, I guess we did technically get a veteran, but someone with starter capability once Jimmy went down. We went back to our comfort zone. So, like, you know what I mean, barbershop talk, we went back to that old thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Old thing.
We went back to that old
getting,
thing.
huh?
Yeah, we know what we getting. So we went back to Josh Johnson. I think we probably at that time, if you remember, your boy Mayfield was available. Whatever you think about him or don't think about him, NFC Championship game, Brock Purdy goes down. Who would you rather have on the field? Baker Mayfield or Josh Johnson? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I think when we talk about mishaps, I think that was a real mishaps, us not going to get a veteran starting caliber QB in the league to have behind Brock. Not to play instead of Brock, because at that time we wasn't on a winning streak, and we didn't know what Brock would be, but just to come behind Brock if he didn't pan out like he did, and or if he got hurt like he did in the championship game. Josh Johnson wasn't it, will not be it, will never be it. Cool dude, 14-year career. I think he'll probably be a coach in the league, probably be a coach for us. You know what I'm saying? But he just wasn't the answer, bro. He just wasn't the answer for us and the team, and for us to get the NFC Championship game and have to turn to him to win it. I think that's a mishaps on Kyle and Shanahan.
Ooh, I'm looking at mine. I don't even know if mine is that deep. I'm going. This is going to go to Kyle for me early on. As great of an offensive mind Kyle is, I think Kyle self-destructs himself sometimes.
Every week.
I think he overthinks it, but I think all the big brains in pro football do that. The McVays, they overthink some of the calls so much. They want to call the perfect game plan. I do think Brock as a kid that potentially can drop back and throw the ball 20 times a game. I think he has that type of mental capacity.
He was throwing it 30-40.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying a drop back, not play action, drop back being a read. 2 safeties, 1 safety, middle of the field closed, open, hollow read on the corner, hollow read on the middle linebacker. Moving with your eyes. I think Brock can potentially do that later on in the career to build his rest of his career had he had a chance to come back. I think there's some opportunities in there early on in the season where we wasn't as aggressive as I would like to be offensively. If you look at some of the other teams like Philly, you look at their third down conversion rate. You know what I mean? And then when they do go for it on fourth down, where they are with that. Look at them. Look at the Lions. Look at some of the teams that other coaches that were up for Coach of the Year. You know, I think they were a little bit more aggressive. I think we have opportunities.
I was just about to ask you that. So you mean like Cal being more aggressive?
Yeah, more aggressive with, understanding this is 4-down territory early on, in the game. Let's take a chance. We got a great defense. If we do go for it and they get the ball on the 40 or the 30, we got a chance to do it. But let's be more aggressive. I would like to see more fourth down attempts, more, understand this 4-down territory, maybe run the ball on third down to get us a more feasible fourth down call. That was one of the things that I took from just watching the 49ers this year. I don't think that we, at the beginning of the season, definitely we weren't as aggressive. And maybe that's, to say so with not trying to find a running back. After your boy went down, we're still trying to find a running back.
Let me ask you this, though. Can you think some of that has to do with the defense? Knowing we had a good defense, Kyle's like, let's just punt it, and our defense is going to stop?
But sometimes I don't think it's in the punt zone. I think it's when we're taking field goals. It's a lot of times we're taking field goals. We're taking 3 we're taking 3 instead of taking 7 on opportunity to get 7. Yeah. I understand you got to put points up early in the game. You want to put points up, but I think some of those, what Philly did to us is, hey, let's go for it on fourth. We want to dominate this game. We want to show them they're not scared. So, with that being said, let's go and get into this this Super Bowl.
They still gonna play that thing? I thought it got canceled.
Hey man, when they play the flag, they gonna play a flag football game today, sometime or tomorrow for the All-Star game or the Pro Bowl. I guess is what they call it. So they gonna play a flag football game. So why not? So I'll go first. I mean, I think y'all know where I'm leaning at, and I'm not even a hater. I got I got way more Philly fans than I have Kansas City Chiefs fans as friends. But again, I stayed too early. I have a relationship with a kid that has the opportunity to fulfill his dream and the dreams of our community in one game. I'd be a fool not to take him. And not that I don't think I'll talk about the game matchup, but I'd be a fool not to see one of the kids that I've mentored in a capacity or just giving words to. I mean, I don't want to take anything from his because I know you got a lot of people pulling on him in a direction. But for me not to see a kid that came from where I came from win the Super Bowl, I'd be a fool not to
root for him.
Yeah, so Jalen Watson, you got my full support to go and win your Super Bowl, young man. Do what you've been taught to do. Make us proud, man, and do your damn thing. You've been doing it in the playoffs already. I think you got 2 interceptions in the playoffs already. Make them believers. Make them go see other kids that's down there doing what you done. You know what I mean? Just because we got we're in that little old town, don't think no athletes don't come from there. You know what I mean? So do what you do. I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs, man. I'll go the game scoring a little bit, but I'm going with the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl.
Listen, you know what's crazy? I haven't seen the Chiefs play this playoffs because I've been traveling both times. I didn't see.
Jim said they ran us out of the stadium this year.
I didn't see neither one of their playoff games, but 100% for sure. I'm behind the Chiefs. Pains me to say that. Oh my God, my wife, her family, and all of them, they from Kansas City.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So they big time Chiefs fans. They was talking crap to me last night on the FaceTime, but and I do be spending some time out there, and I always be nodded out, especially right after the Super Bowl.
As you should.
But anyway, it's not for that reason. I think if the Eagles, I don't think it's hard to say this, and the people, but I don't think the Eagles are that good. Like, Brock doesn't get hurt, we don't lose the game, bro. Like, our defense was, don't get me hyped. Anyway, so I think if the Eagles show up and play like they played against us, they're gonna get mollywopped against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's it at the end of the day. Patrick is, I guess, gonna be much more healthier than he has been with his ankle. Yep. He goes into that game. I think he's going to do what he do, throw the ball around the field to Kelsey, and I think they win. I almost want to say big. Like, I don't know. Eagles are favored right now. They're like 1.5 point, 2 point favorite, but I just don't see it. I'm riding out with Patrick Mahomes, as much as it pains me to say it, and I think the Chiefs win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think keys to victory for me today is, for Super Bowl. I think if the Kansas City Chiefs take anything from my game plan is making sure that Jalen Hurts can throw the football in windows.
Stay in the rush lanes, let them beat you with the arm.
If they take anything from the game plan, they can do that. Second, Big Patty sandwich, Patty Melt himself, has 2 weeks to prepare for a Super Bowl, get that ankle back right.
Oh my gosh, I hate him.
That is a recipe for disaster.
I hate both these teams.
That is it for me. So I'm taking Kansas City 31-21.
I don't have no score. I just hope it's a decent game. I might not even watch it. Like, I'm that disgusted with this whole thing, bro.
I can't say I'm gonna watch it. You know, I got a bag on the table, slingshot. Want to come back and host a Super Bowl party, so I may be ready that slingshot with the Eagles fans.
I'm gonna be in Mobile, Alabama for work. Like, I'm gonna probably be sitting in a hotel room just.
No, we turning up outside, chilling. Boys. We outside. So, but nah, at the end of the day, it's been a great year. 49ers, we battle tested.
For sure.
Definitely have a Super Bowl win team now. Off season is gonna be super, super important to us. Soon we can get these things settled, these beds filled, these vacancies we have right now.
Yep.
Other than that, I think everything else is well. Shout out to the Outside Boys. Shout out to Nine Empire Charlotte. What's the Game podcast? My Queen City Bulls that always come up. Slingshot, Justin, my team over there, media team for sure. Any shout outs you got for the people?
Not right now.
Yeah, make sure you share, subscribe, share. We appreciate the support. We'll be back with you next week. All right, appreciate it. Peace.